Hey everyone, welcome in, welcome back. How's everybody doing? It's been a while. I think the last live I did was with Melissa Jade covering Maura Murray because then Karen had to go shatter her elbow. So, yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Mo, let me know if they're working because, like I said, I haven't used it in a while, so I'm not sure if they're. Oh, they do. Okay, perfect. Hey guys, welcome in, welcome in. Uh, Unfortunately, in our world of true crime that we have now, um, oh, that's right, I was. I think it's because that one was more spontaneous, Teresa. Plus, it was on your channel. But I mean, like on mine, the last time I was live on here. Um, but unfortunately, the way that true crime is, unless it's the hot button topic, it's not gonna draw the crowds, which sucks. Because Nikki's story deserves to get out there. It's a story that's going to infuriate you for different reasons. I don't even know exactly how to explain how it makes me mad. Um, but I'm gonna put up. Give me just a second here. Yeah. Um, Not that one. Sorry, guys. You have to let me get my sea legs back as I'm going through all of this. You guys will see Dexter in the background, but yes, me too. So this is Nikki. Nikki Cheng Saelee-McCain. She is missing out of Redding, California. The situation itself is a little bit um, sketchy, but at the same time, there's no finger pointing, but also there, right, Melissa? He just dipped. I gave him a treat to eat so that you guys could see him for a second, and then he finished it and he dipped. So, um, and unfortunately, this case does have aspects of domestic violence in it, which is something that you guys know I'm very passionate about. So we are going to go over a lot of stuff that is potentially. Oh, Angie, I'm sorry to. Yeah, I mean, it's. I'll go through the whole thing. I also have my Google Maps. So I went and kind of showed the exact thing. This happened near the Wind River Casino. Um, but there's a lot of domestic violence in the situation. There's a fire that was set on accident. Um, a court case that was dropped because Nikki is missing, which infuriates me. Because the whole reason she's missing is, you know what I mean? Like the whole reason it was dropped is because she didn't show up to court. She didn't show up to court because she's missing. Um, oh, Melissa, the best thing about that is that this fire actually ended up burning 98 acres in California. So, hi Amanda. Hey Meta Mom Christy. Hey Angie. Hey Nora's grandma. Mo. Hi Day Tripper. Welcome in. So, um, right, right, Angie. So this is the poster here. I am going to get into it, but I will also bring this up periodically throughout, just so that everyone has the Shasta County Major Crimes Unit phone number as well as the NorCal Alliance for the Missings phone number. But we'll start off with kind of introducing you guys to Nikki, telling you guys who she was as a person, through the lens of her family and friends. And then we'll kind of get into the disappearance and everything else that came along with that, as well as the open DV case. We are going to go through the paperwork that was filed that night of the incident report and more. I'll tell you guys about the fire. We'll show you guys the maps. And then I will leave you guys with, once again, the information. If anyone does have any information, regarding Nikki, regarding her case, or anything in the surroundings. That way you guys have the ability to get that information. So, hi Kimberly, welcome in. All right, so let me take this down. I'm going to get off of the camera because it distracts me. Plus it sometimes makes my computer go a lot slower. Norcal Bowler, also known as my boyfriend Matt. Hi. He said California is a tinderbox right now from all the rain this season and now the heat. So yes. It's really bad. So the fact that this happened accidentally, and who knows why, who knows how, but he was. Thanks, T. I appreciate that. But yeah, so let's get into it. So I'm going to introduce you guys once again to Nikki. Nikki, let me turn this off now that I said that. All right, so actually I'm going to keep probably the brand up, or her picture up, so that way you guys don't just see me moving and you guys can at least see her beautiful face while I'm telling you guys a little bit of that. So Nikki was born on November 9th, 1984. She is 39 years old. She currently resides in Redding, California. Technically, I think it's Anderson, California. And she has been missing since May 17th, 2024. So, Nikki is 4'1", 110 pounds, female Asian with brown eyes, brown hair. She does have a floral tattoo on her left forearm. So let me bring that up because I do have a picture of the tattoo. Let me see. Once again, guys, work with me here because I'm still getting back into the swing of things. So this here is Nikki's tattoo that she has on her forearm. Her family put this out. Hi, Ava. Welcome in. Which we obviously know that identifying features when looking for someone who is missing is very, very important. So, here is her tattoo. Like I said, it is on her left forearm. Another important part of this is she is a mother of 4. She has been married to her husband. I want to say it was 13. They've been together for 16, married for 13. And it is a very beautiful tattoo. And all of the kids are theirs together, hers and her husband, Tyler McCain's. So I'm going to stop this. I'm going to bring Nikki's picture back up. Yep. Yes, Kimberly. They're all beautiful. Meta Mom Christy. They are. Yeah. And so there was an interview that was done. Hang on. I got to see what the page was. With her 2 sisters. I just watched it the other day. Let me go on my history so I can see the channel, and then I will link it down below after the live is done. But it was by Munch Gang, and the title of it is Where is Nikki Cheng? And it's her sisters kind of talking about her, so they do go into who she was as a person, as well as a lot of the news interviews do as well. So when they talk about Nikki, they say that she was very caring, that she was thoughtful, she loved her friends and family, she lifted your spirits, she was a very vibrant personality. Hi, Grandma Sherry, welcome in. That she was very feisty as a child, and she was also, but at the same time, very loving to her siblings. I believe there's 7 of them total. She's the oldest of the sisters in their family. So she was the one that was like teaching her younger siblings how to do things like ride bikes, paint their nails, different things like that. She was also very spontaneous. She loved food, and she was also known as being super funny. So she was the type of person that you would go to when you're feeling down, if you were in a rut, if you were having issues. And she was also a very loving and devoted mother to her 4 children. Um, so other than that, there's not really a ton of background on Nikki herself. Her family has done a very, very great job of sharing her story and keeping it very relevant to what is needed to be relevant, which I think is something, especially in media when they're covering true crime, or social media when they're covering true crime, that has really kind of left. Um, Keeping everything relevant to what is needed to know by the public. Everyone doesn't need to know everything. And I think that's something that I can really respect her family for doing. As well as in that interview, they talk about how even though once we get through her story of her missing, you will side eye certain people in her life. They do go on to be like, we still at this time. Yes. And we'll get into that day tripper. It's definitely, it's still confusing even to this day. Hey, Red Eye, good to see you. So, um, that they still have good relationships with people that are involved in the case, and that they're very happy with how it's being handled, both by law enforcement, by family, and everything like that. So, we will get into her disappearance now. Um, well, okay, so we're going to get into the disappearance, which is kind of what spiked everything else going off, and then we will get into the previous DV case, as well as the potentials of motives behind why she's missing, the case being dismissed, and then everything up to this point. So this all started. Hey, Chopper. No, it's not just you, Day Tripper. It is not. So this all started May 17th, 2024. Um, Technically into May 18th, because no one really realized what was happening. Hey, Tess. Uh, Up to that night. So it was at approximately 12:35 a.m. on the 18th, that Nikki had last touched base with her family. Her sister had received a text message from her, um, and the text message itself didn't really give a ton of information, but it's enough where it definitely gave them a way to start looking. Um, but her sister unfortunately did not see that text until the next morning. And then when her sister tried to text her back, at 7 a.m. and then again at 8 a.m., they it went with no response. Now she said, "Hey Avery, um, one of the weirder things is that they weren't necessarily stressed out by the text messages or by the fact that she wasn't responding, because that would happen. They said that they have a family group chat, they have different group chats with different people in the family, and it wasn't necessarily something that was alarming at first, um, except for the fact that the first red flag that popped up was that Nikki had an iPhone as well as her sisters. And in their history of speaking, they always used iMessage. And when Nikki sent the text at 12:35 a.m., it was a blue message. Now, if you know the difference between an iMessage and a regular text message, iMessages show up blue on an iPhone. And then if you're texting someone, say with like an Android, or iMessage is turned off, it's green. Um, and she said that the message that Nikki sent was blue, but when she tried to respond to Nikki the next morning, all of her messages to Nikki were green. So she said it was weird because even if she wasn't responding, her phone wouldn't have been dead because she charges it overnight while she's sleeping. And that there's kind of a lot of different things that came along with that were just like, hey, that's weird. Like, it's one thing that she's not responding, but so on. So we're going to kind of get into what that last text indicated, which kind of gets into the timeline here as well. So the last text from Nikki to her sisters had indicated that she was on her way to her mother-in-law's house. Now, she was currently not living with her husband. They were in a court case against each other in the domestic violence case, which we will get into. Um, but that evening, someone had had a family emergency. Oh, thank you, Retta. I appreciate that. Welcome to all the new members, guys. Thank you so much. All the money from memberships goes towards StreamYard and stuff like that. And then anything additional that we make, which is every 3 months or so, we donate to wherever our members end up choosing. So we've done EquiSearch, we did the Susan Cox Powell Foundation, different ones like that. I know I do want to end up, I think the next one is donating to the Sebastian Rogers billboards, but also NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, is one that's very close to my heart. So just know that when you are gifted a membership here, that is kind of what we do with the memberships. So yeah, thank you. And thank you guys. And thank you for all the welcome to our little group over here. We talk about smaller cases, but I appreciate you guys for being here. So thank you so much. All right. So there was that evening, so the evening of the 17th, there was some type of family emergency on Tyler's side of the family, where one of his family members was in the hospital. So they were all at the hospital visiting this family member. There is a Facebook group, which I do have linked in the description down below, that you guys should all join to keep up with everything. I will say there is a lot of speculation and there is a lot of talking of individuals who are local, potentially no individuals in this case. Her family is in there, so please be very aware of that while you are in there. But with that comes a lot of speculation, a lot of he said, she said. But from different things that I've kind of been able to take from that, it was possibly his brother in there. But then there was a lot of questioning of why was she visiting at 12:35 a.m. because visiting hours ends at 9 at that hospital. But regardless, this is all at 12:35 a.m. She had absolutely, Chopper. That's just something that I have a full-time job, and that's not what I do it for. And I don't need the money, so I'd rather give it to someone who does need it. And that's kind of why I do what I do on this channel. So, wonder if it's a Brian Laundrie situation. Do they know for sure? So I'm going to get into that as well. But the only thing we know at this point is from that 12:35 a.m. text to her sister saying, I'm driving. She's on her way to her mother-in-law's house. She had actually had her mother-in-law's vehicle, and was driving it back to her mother-in-law's house. Now, there's a lot of different aspects of this that cause issues. And one of them is that there are 3 different jurisdictions in this case, including a reservation tribal land. So Tyler's family lives on a reservation, which is near the Wind River Casino. I don't remember exactly what it's called. I know I have it. Hold on, I have it written down in here. The Redding Rancheria I'm not sure if that's the exact verbiage. I don't know a lot about. I'd love to learn. So if anyone does know, please let me know. But she had gone onto the reservation to Tyler's mom's house. Yes. Oh, that's awesome, Chopper. I love that. I love Mind of Monsters. So sorry, I get distracted easily. She was driving her mother-in-law's truck back to her mother-in-law's house on the reservation. From there, is where things start to get a little bit questionable. There were questions of how she ended up getting back home. At first, people were saying she got an Uber. I've also heard in other places that one of Tyler's friends was following her in their vehicle to then pick her up when she dropped the car off to bring her back home. Um, there was a lot of question regarding why was she even driving the mother-in-law's truck if she's estranged at this point from her husband. Why was she involved in that aspect? I mean, it doesn't mean Tyler was there. Um, but there's definitely a lot of questioning surrounding that. There's also the potential of someone that lived on the property. Hi, Merp. Uh, that lived on the property. No one knows at this point, day tripper. So there's someone that potentially lived on the property of Tyler's mom, a family member, a cousin, or something like that, that potentially was bringing her home. At this point, no one knows exactly what happened. I mean, I'm sure the police do, but her family has come out and been like, they have not told us the exact of who went where and who brought who where. But it was believed that at some point she made it back to her home in Reading. So let's see. Now, in this interview that I had showed you guys, or told you guys about, where her sisters did the interview. Yep, Chopper, you're right. One thing though, Chopper, that I will say about that last night is that her family has been very vocal about not being able to figure out what she was wearing that night, which is potentially, important when you're looking for a missing person. Is they have not been able to find out from anyone at this point um what she was last known wearing. So whether that be at the hospital, whether that be from other people, they have not been able to find out. So that is one part that I think could potentially be important um, in regards to that. So let's see. No one knows who the last person was, although she was dropped off at her home, which is also interesting because up until this point, it is said that she was not actually staying at her home. She was staying at her sister's since the DV incident. So yeah, let's see. So we're gonna kind of get into the DV case. So I'm going to take this part off here. Nope. What did I even just do? Oh, I just clicked that. Okay. Sorry, guys. Take that off. Apparently. Yeah. Or at least no one is sharing that information. I am going to put the domestic violence hotline number on the bottom here. And also, if one of my mods in chat could just do a trigger warning, because we are going to kind of get into her DV case. Am I, Nora's grandma? Because I'm not using a mic this time. So it's just my computer. So let me know. All right, so there had been a handful of 911 calls to their house. Now, this is both in regards to Nikki calling. Okay. Nikki calling as well as Tyler calling. So they had both called on each other. This is not a one-way street when it comes to the 911 calls to this address. I will say her family said that it started to kind of boil over and hit that boiling point during lockdown, which we know was a very tumultuous time, especially for those who did suffer from DV. Yes. Thank you, Chopper. I appreciate that. But that it had very much escalated physically just within the last 3 years or so, 3 to 4 years since lockdown. And that before then, there wasn't really a ton of fighting, at least that they say that she shared with her family. Now, you have to take into consideration that the information we are hearing is from her side of the family, but I will say that even when talking about the DV and Tyler, they very much are respectful on his name and everything like that. So not only was she potentially not living with Tyler at this time due to the DV, but also they had taken the kids out of the situation. So all four of the children were also not living at home with either of them at this point. Um, there was a lot of, downs and then ups and then getting back together and then doing it for the family. I mean, they didn't want to give their family up. And I think that's something that a lot of people going through DV that can always happen. Not always, but it does happen. So let me just I have the documents here, and we're gonna read through, just because the only reason we're reading through what I'm about to bring up here is because I think it can play a role due to the fact that the court case was just recently. Hey, Candace. It was recent, and it ended up being dismissed because Nikki was not there. Now, it was dismissed because she was not there because she is missing, which I think is the point of this that is very, very important. And I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts on whether or not Nikki needed to be there potentially. If it's something where there should have been a continuance. I also do have an article in regards to domestic violence cases and if they should be tried if the victim is missing, deceased, or something like that, that I found really interesting. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think. So the case that I'm about to read, or the situation, the narrative that I'm about to read to you, it occurred on December 1st, 2023. And it is sounds familiar, Avery. I'll have to look into it. Hang on, let me write that down. Hang on. Okay, I wrote it down. So, they've been together for like 15 years, though, Avery. So, I don't think so. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to read through this once again, guys. Trigger warning. I'm going to read through it somewhat quickly, just because it is a lot. But I think it's important to hear the case, and then that way you guys can see if you guys believe that the case should have been dropped just because Nikki is missing. So it says, this is from the Shasta County Sheriff's Office on Friday, December 1st, 2023 at 23:12 hours. I responded to Mercy Hospital in Redding, California to make contact with a female who shall be referred to in this report as confidential victim. The purpose of the contact was for a reported domestic violence incident involving herself and her husband of 13 years. Tyler McCain, that occurred on 11/29/2023 between the hours of 20:30 and 23:30 hours at their listed address of blank Olinda Road in Anderson, California. It should be noted that the original call of the report came in around 19:10 hours on the date of 12/01/2023. Upon coming on duty later that evening, I attempted phone contact with the confidential victim, but was told by her friend that she was currently being treated in the ER and not able to speak to me. Thank you, T. Hi, Debbie Doodles. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. All right. In making contact with confidential victim at the hospital, I immediately noticed facial trauma to both of her eyes, as well as her forehead and facial areas. Both of her eyes were blackened severely. Both were also swollen in what appeared to be the result of a physical assault. I asked confidential victim who did this to her. She stated it was her husband, Tyler McCain. I know, I love her too. She's great. Using my department issued iPhone, I recorded a conversation and asked confidential victim to explain to me what occurred. She relayed the following in summary. So now is going to be going on about what confidential victim, which we find out later on is Nikki, according to her family and friends. Yes, it is. is what she claims happened that night. So once again, guys, trigger warning. Confidential victim stated on Wednesday, 11/29/2023, she returned home to her address of blank Olinda Road, a residence she shares with her husband, Tyler McCain. She said that they had been together and married for approximately 16 years and have 4 children in common, none of whom live with them currently. I know, T, right? Confidential victim, except for if you look up anything, it is officially the husband of. So yeah. Hi, BGOG. Um, It says none of them who lived in the home currently. Getting back to the night of the incident, confidential victim stated that when she got home at around 2015 to 2030 hours, Tyler was not home. Confidential victim went into her bedroom and started combing her hair when approximately 15 minutes later, Tyler returned home in a strange mood and for some reason went and locked the back door of the house. Confidential victim stated that for unknown reasons, Tyler seemed extremely agitated and was not making any sense. When he contacted her in the bedroom area, she said that he immediately jumped on her, held her down on the ground, and dragged her around, yelled at her, and asked, "What's going on? What are you doing?" Confidential victim stated that Tyler had a glazed, scary look in his eye, as if he was having some sort of mental episode. Confidential victim tried to calm Tyler down, but to no avail, and he continued to torment her verbally as well as hold her down and began to repeatedly hit her in the face. Confidential victims stated that Tyler's behavior began to grow more and more intense towards her, hitting her in the facial area with his open hands in a harsh, forceful manner. She said in addition to hitting her face, her eyes, and her cheek areas, he also pulled her hair numerous times and even poured large amounts of water onto her from a water jug that was sitting beside her, causing her to become very cold. What's up, Chopper? Confidential victims stated this behavior by Tyler continued for approximately 3 hours, during which time he bound her ankles and wrists together with white tape. He also placed a piece of tape over her mouth so she could not speak properly. Confidential victims stated part of the tape was not covering her mouth fully, so she was still able to breathe, though she could not speak. Oh, okay. Just making sure. No. During this time, confidential victim stated Tyler turned her over onto her stomach and straddled her from behind, pulled on her hair, and forcefully pulled her head back, saying he was going to kill her. I asked confidential victim which state of mind she was in at this moment. Confidential victim said she thought she was going to die, that Tyler may actually intend to kill her. Throughout the evening, Tyler periodically hit her as she laid on the ground. Confidential victim said one time Tyler attempted to wrap something around her neck but was not successful in doing that. I asked confidential victim what type of object Tyler used to wrap around her neck. She said she was not sure. She did not see, only that she felt it. In looking at confidential victim's neck, I did not notice any specific strangle or choke marks that could be attributed to an attempted strangling. In looking at the eyes of the confidential victim, it was clearly evident that she had been struck numerous times, with her injuries suggesting they came at the hands of being struck by another human being. Should also be noted, confidential victim is a small person at 5'11" and 90 pounds in stature, which I will say this was December of last year, December 1st of last year. So then it says Tyler is substantially larger and stronger than she is, and there would be no way for her to fend him off in a fit of rage during this assault. Confidential victim said Tyler has done this type of thing before, but never this bad. During my interview with her, confidential victim said she was not sure about Tyler's illegal drug use, but believed he used methamphetamines periodically. Yes, December 1st. 4/11. She was 4 foot 11 inches tall, 90 pounds. Although I will say on her, yes, yes, Chopper. And she did say in that he was not successful in the choking part of it. He tried. Hi, Thistle. But was not successful. Um, I want to say it was right after this incident or right before this incident. I'm not exactly sure, but they during the time of this incident they were not there. So, um, four did I? I might have did. I meant 411. Um, I asked confidential victim after the approximately 3-hour ordeal how it ended. She stated towards the end of the night, around 11:30 or so, Tyler went into the kitchen area where he remained for several minutes. Believing this was the opportunity for her to escape, confidential victim grabbed her robe that contained her car keys, ran outside, and got into her vehicle. She said, as she was leaving, Tyler came running out after her and jumped on the hood of her car, telling her to stop, which she ignored. I asked confidential victim if Tyler sexually assaulted her during this incident in any way. She said he did not. After leaving her residence, confidential victim went to her sister's house in Reading, where she has been staying ever since, and eventually made the report to law enforcement. Hi, Titanium. Welcome in. Thanks for coming. I asked confidential victim to describe the punches Tyler hit her with. She said it was not really a fist, more of an open hand, and that he hit her 10 to 15 times in the facial area, including her eyes and forehead. Confidential could not see what he used to wrap around her neck, but believed he may have been trying to suffocate her. Confidential victim said she has not spoken to Tyler since, and he has not called her. No one else was at the residence when this incident occurred, and there were no witnesses to contact. Yeah. Photos of the injuries to confidential victim, as well as a medical release form, were signed and will be added to the report. The photos will be booked into evidence after they are transferred to a CD-ROM. Haven't heard that in a while. My recorded interview with confidential victim will also be converted to a CD-ROM and later booked into evidence. At this time, confidential victim will no longer be living at the Olinda Road address and will be staying for the foreseeable future with her sister in Reading. Confidential victim was advised to go to one safe place in Reading at her earliest convenience to get assistance for obtaining a restraining order against Tyler. She was also provided a Marzi card and a victim of violent crimes pamphlet, a report number, and my contact information in case she had any questions or concerns about the case. At the jail, so now we're going to kind of get into the police with arresting Tyler for this incident. At the jail, I read Tyler his Miranda rights from my card issued to me by the Shasta County District Attorney's Office. Tyler verbally stated to me he understood his rights and agreed to speak to me regarding this incident. I first confirmed confidential victims was in fact Tyler's wife. Once again, not at the time of the assault. She was with her sister after the fact. Chopper. She went to her sister's house after she got away from the house. So let's see. I asked Tyler if he was aware of the injuries his wife, the confidential victim, had upon her face and body areas. Tyler said he is aware of them, but that he did not actually see them. He said that he last saw his wife on the 29th during the evening hours at around 8 p.m. Right. Yeah. When I asked if there was any kind of disturbance between them, he said no, there was not. Tyler then told me that he believed his wife had gotten into a fight with another female, that now she received the injuries she currently had upon her body. I asked Tyler if he saw the fight take place. He said he did not. Tyler's statement sounded inconsistent, saying that he believed the confidential victim was having an affair with another female, but then went on to say that they had got along great and had been together as a happy couple, never having any type of physical altercation between them. When I again asked Tyler if he saw the fight between confidential victim and this alleged female, or if he saw the injuries that she had upon her face, he said he did not. I informed Tyler his wife and confidential victim reported him as being the person who caused her numerous and visible injuries to her face during a violent encounter at their shared residence on Olinda Road on 11/29/23. Tyler said he did not strike confidential victim in any way and did not know how she received the injuries that she's being treated for at the hospital. No, Chopper, she did not. Based on the totality of the circumstances and based on the fact that the injuries upon confidential victim were consistent with that of a domestic violence incident, I informed Tyler that he was being charged with 273.5 PC felony domestic violence, as well as false imprisonment, as well and terrorist threats, also a felony. Sorry, that was a mouthful. The domestic violence related charges stem from the fact that I observed physical injuries upon confidential victim she sustained at the hands of Tyler McCain, her husband. The false imprisonment is due to the fact that confidential victim stated Tyler bound her hands and legs with tape, preventing her from leaving the house, and the terroristic threats for the fact that Tyler threatened to kill confidential victim numerous times during the course of the incident and was in great fear of her own safety and well-being. This concluded my contact with Tyler, and he was booked on the listed charges. Prior to transporting, if he hit, yeah. Possibly Chopper. And I'll kind of get into that once we get a little bit past this aspect of it. It says, prior to transferring Tyler to jail, I was given permission by both confidential victim earlier at the hospital and by suspect Tyler McCain to enter the residence and retrieve confidential victim's cell phones. During a cursory safety search of the residence, 5 firearms were found inside a bedroom area in plain view where both Tyler and confidential victim reside. Tyler is not a convicted felon and is not prohibited from owning firearms, but a records check revealed that one of the firearms, an AK-47 style rifle, was reported to be stolen out of Oregon. That rifle, as well, the other ones were taken for safekeeping and later entered into evidence as recovered stolen property and for safekeeping. Sergeant G, so I don't know how to say that, collected the firearms along with ammunition and booked them into the Shasta County ID lab. Tyler McCain was later served with a receipt of the property at the jail that he signed in my presence that will be downloaded and added to this report. I also looked for the type of white tape that the confidential victim reported being tied up by. Tyler was laying on the floor in the bedroom area but did not observe any in plain view. It says the report will be forwarded to the district attorney's office with the listed charges that, based on the totality of circumstances in this incident, show that Tyler McCain was the primary aggressor in this matter. So, that is the incident that occurred at the end of last year. So, court was set for the end of last month, early this month. Let me see here. I have the article. So I'm going to stop sharing this. Once again, if you guys need that, if you guys want to read through that yourself, it is in the Facebook group. I can also email it to you if you email it to me. Hey, Libra Moon. But let me grab. We're going to kind of read through a handful of little articles that have come out as well. Share screen. We'll do this one first. So make sure I'm sharing it. There we go. So this says family and friends, which this is from June 28th, 2024. So what is that, a week ago? A week and a half ago? It says family and friends hold rally for Nikki Cheng Saelee-McCain as husband appears in court. The husband of the missing woman was charged with multiple felony domestic violence crimes 6 months ago. Her family and friends surrounded him, chanting as he left court this morning. You guys can see this was all in court. Her sister's in the front here. No, you're good. Chopper, you're good. So then it says she was reported missing from Redding, California nearly 6 weeks ago on May 18th. Today, her family and friends gathered at the Shasta County Courthouse to call attention to her disappearance and to raise awareness of domestic violence. The rally was timed to coincide with the pre-trial appearance of Saelee-McCain's husband, Tyler Scott McCain. He's facing multiple felony charges of domestic violence, including felony corporal injury to spouse, false imprisonment, and assault with force likely to create great bodily injury. McCain was charged on December 2nd, 5 months before his wife went missing. He pled not guilty to all the charges during a May 7th hearing less than 2 weeks before she disappeared. Saelee-McCain's sister, Kay Ford, said today that there may not be sufficient evidence to move the case against McCain forward because her sister is missing and therefore unable to testify. She and another of Nikki's sisters, Chloe Saelee, called on the public to continue searching. They hope to locate their sister before her husband returns to court on July 5th. So once again, you guys can see family and friends. About 100 people showed up to the courthouse rally Friday, including a significant number of women and children, many of whom are part of the local Asian American community. As McCain entered the courthouse, some chanted "No justice, no peace," while Tyler's still on the streets. After he left the courthouse, some members of the community chased McCain's car into the road, screaming, "Where is she?" as he pulled away. Now, I will say that's not safe. Let the police do their job. You don't need to be, you can do that safely. You can do it legally. You don't need to be chasing after cars and stuff like that. Let's see. So it says McCain did not speak to the public or the press. According to the court records, he's being represented by defense attorney Michael Borges. Borges has also defended several high-profile murder suspects in recent years, including a former Shasta County public defender who was convicted of attacking his family with, gross. I will say that there is a video that was taken by one of her sisters of Tyler flicking them off as he walked into the courthouse. So, yeah, there's that. But it says shortly after midnight, and this kind of goes through once again. Shortly after midnight on May 18th, the day Saelee-McCain went missing, her family says she texted her sister to say that she was driving McCain's mother's vehicle back to her mother's home near the Wind River Casino. She did not respond to texts from her family later that morning. Chevy Avalanche that McCain Saelee had been driving was found abandoned 8 days later on May 25th in Tehama. Is that how I say that? Tehama County? She has 4 children, would not have intentionally left them without notice. The Redding Rancheria, which operates the Wind River Casino, has offered a reward of $10,000 for information that leads to McCain Saeelee's whereabouts. And then once again goes into her being 4'11". They say she's 110 pounds here. So regardless, it's from about 90 to 110 pounds. Still a very, very small human. And so, yes, we will now read. I guess I could tell you guys then. So the car being found. Her car is found 8 days after she is reported missing. Tehama. Okay, thank you, Angie. Tehama. Okay. And it is found in Cottonwood, California. I'll show you guys the map. It is found on Bowman Road near a bridge. Before I was going into the Facebook groups, it was very interesting because there was a lot of questionable information. How did the car get there? Why was it so far away? And so on. Reading through the Facebook group, it was believed that Tyler admitted to putting the car there because it had broken down. But then a lot of people were like, why would you just leave it there? Why wouldn't you have it towed if it broke down? All this different stuff. So I know for a while there, the family was asking if anyone saw her vehicle, which is this here. It is, hang on, I have it written down. 2002 Chevrolet Avalanche, California license plate DP 154UT. It's also on all of the posters. And they were just wondering if anyone potentially had seen the truck between the 17th and the 28th was it the 17th and the 20? No, 17th and 25th of May, just so they could figure out what was where it was. If they could figure out where it was during that time, was it there the entire time? Was it there before she went missing? Was it potentially seen other places in between? And so on. So, but yes, so that's kind of what the information is about the truck. They have done a lot of searches, ground searches. You're good, Thistle. Hi, Roro. So let's see. It, like I said, they have the truck. It's impounded. They're getting all the evidence behind it. And someone had asked a question. Oh, Chopper, what was her DNA found in the car as well? To be honest, they haven't really shared much, and I think that that's good. I think it's something that it's not needed to necessarily be shared. I think they know who brought it there, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, at that point in time, in that one interview with the sisters that was done, um, they had just said like, hey, if you are in the area and you happen to recognize it, and did you see it between May 17th and May 25th in any area, surrounding areas, everything like that, to just reach out and let them know. So let's see. Next, we will go into the next court date. I think it depends, Chopper. All right. So, because I am covering this case, I'm sure you guys can all assume, and because I've also said it already, that Nikki was not able to testify in the case, and hang on, let me bring this up. The judge ended up dismissing the domestic violence case. Now, the domestic violence case is the one that I just read to you guys, that Nikki was in the hospital for the black eyes, for the swelling, and everything like that. So the judge ends up dismissing the charges against man married to missing Reading woman. The only reason that the charges were dismissed was because Nikki was not there to testify in the case. The reason Nikki was not there to testify is because she is a current missing person. So this is something that I think I would love to have a more in-depth conversation about, regarding whether or not, yeah, right, Mo? Whether or not that's good enough. Why? I'm going to be honest. I don't think it is. I don't think that these charges should have been dropped. Do I think that there's a potential of like putting it off until she's found? Possibly, but I guess then you have to go into speedy trial, stuff like that. Well, right, Nora. Nora's grandma, yeah. It's a great message to send to DV predators. If your victim disappears, then the charges get dropped. And that's ridiculous. Yeah. So we're going to read through this. This was only updated because the judge actually dismissed the case. This was July 5th. So this was only 2 days ago on Friday. So let's see here. There's his mugshot, her husband's. But it says, Shasta County, California. A Shasta County judge has dismissed the charges involving Tyler Scott McCain due to lack of evidence. It goes over his charges once again. It says McCain was in court this morning. McCain will be back in court to face misdemeanor charges at a later date. McCain is married to Nikki Cheng McCain, a woman who has been missing in Reading for over a month. And that's literally it. Because she's missing, she's not there to testify. They said it was lack of evidence. And because of that, they dropped the cases against him. So I'm curious to your guys' thoughts. Do you think this is something that it happened and it happened, or do you think this is something that should not have happened, or what? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. And I'll pick up the next one. It is the right decision in California. It was dismissed with prejudice. The right to bring charges later. Should laws change? Yeah. Right, Ava. Yeah, and I mean I get that, and I'm not necessarily fighting like the fact that they had to do it. I guess I'm more on the lines of I personally think it's failing domestic violence victims, and I think it's is putting a message out there to perpetrators of domestic violence that literally be like, if you get your victim to disappear, then you're good, which is ridiculous to me, you know? But I definitely get what you're saying. It'd be interesting to see the differences in those laws, um, like state by state, like if there's a difference. So we are going to get into it is ridiculous. Yes, it is. Let me see. Close this one out. Oh, here we go. I'm going to actually bring this one up. This one, it's going to go over where they've done a handful of the searches. Make sure it's up. All right. So this is from disappearedblog.com. And this goes over the different searches that the families and stuff have had. So it says on June 1st, 2024, a search was conducted near Bowman Road in the area where Nikki McCain's vehicle was located. On June 9th, 2024, a second search was conducted on tribal grounds in the Clear Creek area near the Wind River Casino in Redding, California, where Nikki was last known to be seen, but no signs of her whereabouts were found. It goes on to talk about the charges and so on. Now, the family has been very supportive. They believe that the casino as well as the reservation have been technically, I think so. I hope so. I'd have to look more into the court side of things, but I know it was a big hit to her family. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Mo, unfortunately. Her family has been very thankful to those on the tribal land and everything like that, as well as the casino, those that live on the reservation. They have allowed for searches. It was actually the rancheria that put up the $10,000 reward, which they are very grateful for. And they have been very helpful in that way. I know a lot of people were saying, you know, boycott the casino and stuff like that. And her family was like, no, they've been doing everything that they can, everything within their power. And that's not something like they have friends, they have family that work there. It's not the type of situation where they want to take away from those trying to make a living at this casino who live on the casino who are part of the tribe living there and everything like that. So she didn't, Nora's grandma, but her mother-in-law did live on the reservation. And when she was last seen, she was dropping off her mother-in-law's car at her mother-in-law's house on the reservation, and then supposedly got a ride back to her home. But the last thing anyone heard was a text saying that she was on her way to bring her mother-in-law's car back. So, let's see what else I have to share with you guys. If you guys have any questions too, feel free to ask them in chat as I'm going through all of this. See. I'll bring that up at the end here. Oh, there is a little video here. This was 3 weeks ago by the local news station there. So we'll watch that. It kind of goes over the latest search for Nikki. It's only 3 minutes or so. All right. So let me know that you guys can hear it once I start playing it, because I know StreamYard has been a little weird about playing audio. So if you guys could just let me know in chat once I start playing it, that'd be great.
Where it's been 24 days since 39-year-old Nikki Cheng Saelee-McCain was last seen by her family.
Hang on, I have to slow it down. The last thing I watched was sped up. So hang on. Here we go.
In Reading, the community ramping up search efforts in hopes of finding the missing mother of 4. They came together again yesterday for another search near Wind River Casino. Our reporter Sophia Bruinsma was at the search, speaking with the people desperate to bring the missing woman home.
From the skies down to the tribal grounds, the search for Nikki Saelee-McCain continues.
Today we are on another search for my sister. We're looking around the Clear Creek area.
We copy.
Okay, station 7.
Family, friends, and civilians joined Sunday morning at 9 a.m., meeting at the Clear Creek Market outside of the Wind River Casino. Why this area?
You know what, this area, just because it was searched already on Wednesday, but they didn't finish everything, and it's kind of close to where my sister was last known to be seen or heard from.
The Reading Rancheria Tribal Council granted the search group rights for a section of the otherwise private area for a few hours in the morning. The rest of the tribal grounds remain private, with tribal laws that prohibit non-tribal members from visiting. Ron Lim, a frequent...
So, and I just want to pop in here too, because like I said, they are getting a lot of backlash from certain people in regards to the reservation and the tribal land and not allowing for people on it. And I don't think I personally don't believe it's for any nefarious reasons. I honestly think it is just, it's tribal land. They have their own rules, their own regulations, and it's a thing for them where it just can't happen. Now, does that mean that they can't potentially work with the police themselves and get on the other part of the land later on, or if the police haven't, or something like that? That we don't know. We just know that the volunteer search parties have only been allowed on the certain aspects of the land. So I think that's an important part to mention. So here, we'll finish watching this. This guy goes up in a plane and is looking.
Flyer took time out of his day to help join the search for Nikki.
And we are going to go up and join the ground search right now for Nikki, missing Nikki.
Lim says he is worried about Nikki's well-being and has local ties to her and her family.
Sad story so far. I'm hoping that we can, help do something, whether it's, closure in some, way or other.
Nikki has now been missing for about 3 weeks, with no known sightings of her since May 17th. Her family says she was last known to be leaving the Wind River Casino. The Shasta County Sheriff's Office said in a statement last week that the missing person case remains active and they are...
So another part of that I wanted to point out was also that they claim that she was last seen leaving the casino, which according to everyone else is not the case, but that the family does live near the casino. The mother-in-law does live on the reservation near the casino. So I don't know if it means that she potentially left and then waited for a ride at the casino, and that's why she was last seen there. Or if the casino was just she had to pass it on her way out or something like that. So I'm not exactly sure the difference of location to that aspect. But I just wanted to mention that too as we go. I know a lot of people in the Facebook groups were also questioning surveillance cameras at the casino and everything like that. And I hadn't really seen anyone answer it. But I will say, with the case, the police are keeping a lot of information close to the vest. Everything that we've heard is what they're giving her side of the family. So I think also looking at it. Well, right, Chopper, as well, because she lived in Shasta County. It was found, her car was found in a different county, and then she goes missing from the reservation. So there's technically 3 different jurisdictions all within this situation, potentially, because we don't actually know when she went missing. Her family last heard from her when she was going to drop the car off. That's the last publicly that's been said. No one knows, did she make it to the mother-in-law's house? Did something happen before? Did something happen after? Did something happen on her way home? Did something happen? Did she make it home and something happened at home? This could have been something where it was a domestic violence incident, absolutely, but it also potentially could have been a freak accident or random foul play. I mean, we don't know. And I think it's important to know that, like I said, her family is still very vocally like, we're still on good terms with Tyler at this point. So yeah. Let's finish watching this quick.
Are continuing to work on the investigation. They said further details of steps being taken are not being released at this time due to the integrity of this investigation.
And the sooner we can get up there and find her, the more chance, we can find her alive and well. But the longer this goes without finding her is not good.
The Redding Rancheria also says it's committed to doing everything in its power to help find Nikki and bring her home to her children. In collaboration with a local nonprofit dedicated to finding missing people, the tribe has offered a $10,000 reward for information leading to Nikki's safe return. They've also placed a billboard along the I-5 highway to maximize awareness and potential leads. And the tribe says it's fully cooperating with local law enforcement, urging anyone with information to come forward. If you know anything and would like to remain anonymous, call 530-378-4491. You can also call the Shasta County Sheriff's Office and ask for Lieutenant Chris Edwards in the Major Crimes Unit.
Sorry, my computer decided to go really slow when I was trying to unmute. So a lot of good questions. How do they not know she made it to her mother-in-law's house? So I think it's something where potentially the police know. I believe the thought process is that she did somehow get a ride home from mother-in-law's and make it home. That was the original storyline of what was being told when it came to her disappearance. But I think due to the DV, a lot of it has potentially turned back to, well, where was she right before? And like what could have potentially led up to it. You then also put into play the DV case and the court hearings coming up and everything like that. Yes, Chopper, her family was very vocal about not being something that she would ever do, that she was a very dedicated mother, and loved her kids very much. So, let's see. So, like I said, they're trying to figure out what exactly the last verified sighting was of her. They were asking anyone at the hospital that potentially saw her there when she was visiting Tyler's family, or however that worked out. I mean, that's the thing, is there's so many questions regarding how this all went down, the timeline of things, why she was where she was, why she was with people. Why did she end up going home that night instead of going back to her sister's house where she had been staying since the domestic violence incident? And so on. But we end up having a little bit more of a twist to this, because on July 3rd, so just a few days ago, there was a fire on the property of Tyler McCain. So let me see which one of these I want to do first. As you guys know, that has not been made public, Nora's grandma. If anyone besides Tyler's family or anything, because the only reason they know that she was potentially there is because of the text message from her phone to her sister. Now, I will say her sisters have gone and been like, was that her? They have questioned it, but that there is a little bit more or less, not outright being like that wasn't her, but they've definitely been like, yeah, that's definitely crossed our minds now. So let me grab, we'll do this one first. So as you guys know, the entire country is very much under a heat wave right now, but California especially. You can ask my boyfriend in chat. He's in California. It's been hot as hell, literally, there. And so there's been a lot of regulations and fire issues when it comes to fires and fires getting out of control and everything like that as well, in California. So on July 3rd, there was a fire that actually a lot of people ended up seeing it on like the local site, and they were like, oh, that's weird, why do I know that address? And it ended up being the address of the home of Tyler and Nikki's home, the one that Tyler was staying in, that the original incident happened in, the domestic violence incident happened in. But yes, so this is in Anderson, California. It says Cal Fire confirmed with the North States News Thursday morning an individual was cited for being involved in starting the Olinda fire on Wednesday, July 3rd. They shared they do share the identities of people arrested. It is against policy to give the identity of someone they cite. However, on Thursday, our reporter was approached by the homeowner, Tyler McCain, husband of the missing woman, Nikki Saelee-McCain, who confirmed he was the person cited for the fire. He says that the fire was ignited after he parked a car on dry grass. Cal Fire posted a fire update Thursday at 4:35 p.m., saying that the fire was sparked by a failed catalytic converter that expelled hot fragments into dry vegetation. They say the responsible party attempted to extinguish it, but the fire spread rapidly. It says a number of law enforcement officers were at the scene of the fire on Wednesday, walking the property while much of it was still on fire. These included Redding Police, Shasta County Sheriffs, and Cal Fire law enforcement. On Thursday, a neighbor of McCain named Charles, who asked us not to show his face, shared that while his home was safe, many of his neighbors were threatened by the fire. Hi, Aaron. Everybody is fired up. Sure, there was no pun intended. We know we want the other case to be solved, he says, referring to the still missing wife of Tyler McCain. There's aggression behind it, but there is due process. There's things we have to wait on. When asked why this fire resulted in a citation, whereas a fire like the hidden fire ended up with an arrest, Cal Fire representatives shared they have to have enough evidence to prove a level of criminal negligence necessary for an arrest based on factors set out in California law. Factors they say were not present in this case. Cal Fire says that the fire highlights the importance of practicing fire safety during red flag conditions. They say the owner was cited for negligently causing a fire and burning another's land. Mo says, NorCal Bowler, it's common knowledge not to do that there. Is it? Common knowledge. Cool Gamer, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. not to park on dry grass and weeds. I guess driving a car, do you know automatically that like driving the car would cause that issue? If that makes sense? Yes. Like, is it known that just not to drive your car on grass when it's that hot, I suppose? Yeah, chopper. And yes, NorCal Bowler, I think that's what she was asking. Well, there's a lot of things you do, Merp. I don't know. I'll wait for him to respond and I'll keep reading. They say the owner was cited for negligently causing a fire and burning another's land. Common sense says yes, but we know how a lot of people are with common sense. So then there's a post here from the Facebook group of the Cal Fire Shasta Trinity Unit, Shasta County Fire Department. And if we scroll down here, it says that there are 2 incidents that are critical reminders. So it says at 4:15 p.m., firefighters responded to the 1700 block of Olinda Road. A failing catalytic converter expelled hot fragments into dry vegetation, igniting a fire. Despite the responsible party's attempts to extinguish it, the fire spread rapidly. Evacuations were issued, and the fire grew to 98 acres. The owner was cited for negligently causing a fire and burning another's land. Goes into some more safety tips as well. And I don't know, Minimum Christy. I'm pretty sure, yes, I've seen pictures that the car that the catalytic converter that the car was on that started the fire did burn up. Let me see if I can actually find. There was a picture of it. You guys can see here. Shoot, let me see if I can find the picture. No, he doesn't. They haven't been with him for a while, Chopper. Thank goodness. Let me stop sharing the screen. Let me go into the other thing that I was going to bring up. But I'll go bring that up first. Yes, Thistle. Not good to cut dry grass weeds with blades because they can spark with rocks, causing fire. Oh, interesting. Thank God I have you to know that. Thank goodness. Sorry. Okay, let me see. There's a picture of, hang on, Tyler at the residence. Hi, Earth. Your name's back to Earth and not Ert. Hang on. Going to see if I can find the photo. Just give me a second, guys, as I try to find the picture that I'm looking for. Okay, I saw that. This one, found it. Hang on, guys, let me save it. Did the car get engulfed and burnt to the ground? I'll show you here. Yes, give me just a second. Shit, so I'm gonna bring up a whole thing. Okay, good. Sweet, I did it right. See, I knew you as Earth, and then you switched to Ert, and then I was having trouble calling you Ert because I knew you as Earth, so I'm actually kind of glad you went back to Earth. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. All right, so let me grab this. So this is a picture from where it had started. Let me make sure I'm sharing it with you guys. And I will zoom in here. Oh, Avery, thank you so much for gifting memberships. I appreciate that so much. Oh, thank you so much. Hey, Jennifer, welcome in. Thank you. And if you guys received a membership, make sure to thank Avery. And Avery, thank you again. I mentioned this ahead of time or before as well. But we try to make a donation with the membership funds every month. So, but yes, so here's the vehicle that started the fire. You guys can actually see Tyler in the background of this. But what do you guys think? I'm curious as to, yeah, it did. Well, that Roberta, that was potentially what had started it, was the catalytic converter from that sparking on the dry grass. And it ended up burning 98 acres. So, I don't know. It's obviously questionable because I know there are a lot of people that obviously think Tyler is involved in this somehow. He could be, he could not be. But it is definitely a right, Metamom Chrissy? An interesting twist that has happened in the last few days here. Yeah. That's true. True. But it is very interesting. And I will also say, yeah, Chopper. I agree. But I try to leave my bias and my opinions out of it. I try to just bring the information strictly, but I don't know. That's definitely where my mind went. I know that's where a lot of people in the Facebook groups mind went as well. But yeah, as of this moment, Nikki is still missing. I'm going to bring up her picture once again. Actually, I'm going to bring up this one because this one has two different pictures of her. Hide that one. This one. Here we go. So this one here is the missing persons poster. It has two different, I assume that's her driver's license photo, I think. But it also on here, which I do have all of this linked down below, all of the references, the videos, the articles, everything that I used is linked down below in the description box, as well as the Facebook group. And then in the link tree that is linked in the chat is a link to different resources, DV resources, missing children resources, missing person resources, as well as my personal social media and information in case anyone does want to get a hold of me or anything like that. I do want to give a shout out to Legacy on Twitter. I actually had a sub, or Legacy had reached out saying to have someone cover it. A sub had tagged me, and then it kind of all rolled from there. But Legacy has done a very good job covering Nikki's case, covering all aspects of Nikki's case, and has really kept her name out there. And I also have Legacy's Twitter linked in the description box down below as well. But yeah, do you guys have any questions before I end the live out? Once again, oh, actually, before I do that, I'll just bring this up really quick. So, well, no, just kidding. I don't have that anymore. But the this is located, like I said, in Northern California, in Redding. It's in Redding, Cottonwood, and Anderson, California. And everything kind of surrounds that area. Some areas of interest, obviously, were Bowman Road, where her car was found, the Wind River Casino, as well as the reservation that the casino is on, and kind of just the overall questions about what happened. Just because the public doesn't know more of these details doesn't mean that the investigators don't know these details. and I think it's important to keep that in mind. I also think when it comes to outrage, whether it be from investigators or about investigators, about the case, about the other family, about who to be suspicious about, I think it's important to take cues from Nikki's family. And at this point in time, they are very content with how the investigation is going, how the searches are going, and they've said that it's a hard decision to be in, or a position to be in, for Tyler and his family, regardless. And they said obviously that there's not enough information to say yes, we believe he did something, yes, we believe he was involved in something. But I do think it's important to get all of the information out there so that everyone can kind of, number one, get Nikki's face out there. If you're in the area, know of people in the area, please share this with them. Please share her missing poster with them. Share it on all of your social media. At this point, we just need to bring Nikki home. That is the biggest aspect of this, the most important part of this. Also knowing, and obviously you guys know, that fighting domestic violence is something that I'm very passionate about. And having this case touch on that and then have it be a suspicious missing person, it does really grind my gears, as well as the potential of what is something that us in the community have the ability to do or change or fight for, in regards to the potential of the dropping of the charges against Tyler just because she's missing. So I'd love to hear all of your guys' thoughts, all of your opinions. If you guys do have any, corrections or anything like that, I'd love to hear them. I'm always an open book for stuff like that. If you guys want to touch base on this case or any other case, please feel free to reach out. I don't know how much I'm back yet. Like you guys know, I was on a hiatus, so I don't think so. I don't think she went to the casino itself, like that night at least. I think she was just on the reservation. But I mean, we could be wrong. I don't know. So, but yeah, so I think that that's where we're going to end up ending it off tonight. But let me see here. Turn myself back on to end it out here. But once again, guys, not everything is always as it seems. You can't prosecute someone before the law. We can all have our biases and stuff like that. We can all have our intuition and our opinions on things, but it's very important to not, persecute someone one way or the other before we have any more information. So, thank you, Ava. I appreciate that. I'm also a perfectionist, which makes it worse because then I have all my notes and it's all organized and all this different stuff, and then I have to have everything done on all my articles brought up and all my pictures that I want to show brought up and ready to go before I even schedule it. Otherwise it gives me anxiety. So thank you. Yeah. But thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to Nikki's story. Please make sure to share this out. Even if you don't share the video out, share her flyer out. I'm going to be sharing it in my Facebook group. I'm also going to be sharing it on my Twitter. So please let me know if you guys do want copies of anything that I utilized today and I don't have it for some reason down below. Then just let me know. You can email me and I can send it off to you. But other than that, I'm going to end it out here with my domestic violence outro that I have that gives a few resources. And thank you guys once again for being here, for listening, for coming back even after the hiatus. But yeah, I will see you guys soon, hopefully. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be doing next. I'm thinking of doing an overview of Elijah Vu, just because he's still missing. And it's kind of gone quiet since the original coverage of the case. But yes. And then, yes, like Aaron just said, stay safe, stay vigilant. Don't run with earbuds in alone. Carry mace at all times. Don't do the over the head or over the ears headphones unless you have like the sound on for around you. Yeah, Aaron, and that's kind of another reason why I want to go over that. But true, Debbie, or if that was just a random spot that he parked the car just that day, that'd be interesting. But thank you guys again for joining us today. Stay kind, stay out of the bullshit. YouTube's been a shit show lately. So just don't join into it. Be above it all. Stay kind, be nice to everyone. And I will see you guys soon. Bye, everyone.